Any parent who has a child suspected of or who has COVID, any parent will get an email from the front office with information on how to connect with community-based health supports in case the student shows symptoms. So it is up to us to make sure that we tell our families how to get the help that they need or how to read the symptoms, because if it's not important to them, they skim over it, and then suddenly it is important to them. So we need to be able to give it to them immediately. 1G is all about visitors and volunteers, and we are trying to keep the parents out of the building for contagion purposes. However, the first day of school is really iffy about that. Pre-K and kindergartners are meeting on the playground. Every class on the first day is meeting on the playground so that you can get that separation with the parent, and then the teacher brings the kids inside. It'll take a little longer with kindergarten and pre-K. We're trying to get front office personnel to greet people at the door rather than buzz them in and have them come to the office. So those kinds of things are going to change. But please read through these. When we have to have parent, teacher, and special education conferences, those are going to be held through Zoom or Google Meets or some other teleconferencing program when they can be scheduled. Parents who want a quick word with a teacher may meet with you maintaining physical distance, wearing a school face covering if they're after school on the playground, or they can talk to you through email, or they can talk to you by appointment. Do not bring parents into classrooms. The classrooms are just for cohorts. It has to be a single-use room kind of thing. Even after school, don't have the parents come into your classroom. That's what the meeting room is for, and you need to maintain distance and wear a mask and wipe up after you with the Virex. So we're really trying to make sure that we keep that distance. Again, parents are not allowed in the classrooms. Any deliveries that get made is going to be dropped off at the front office, where before parents would just walk in and go put the lunch in the kids' locker, and that's not going to happen anymore. 1H starts our definition of face covering so that we can be very specific. A mask is a professional grade face covering rated at N95 or higher. We're not holding anybody to professional grade masks at all. We might say mask, but we actually really need face covering. And face covering is cloth paper disposable face covering that covers the nose and the mouth. It has to be both the nose and the mouth. This is an aerosol-based disease, and if you're just covering your mouth, you still exhale out of your nose. So it's the mask needs to catch the germs coming out your nose as well. So we have to make sure everybody understands it's both the nose and the mouth. Face coverings should be changed daily and cleaned after each use. We have asked all of the parents to buy our students at least 5 masks and then run them through the laundry at the end of the week. If you choose to wear a face shield, that is another option for very specific time periods. It's a clear plastic shield that covers the forehead, extends below the chin, and wraps around the sides of the face. And then they have plastic barriers, and those are that's like a piece of plexiglass. And unfortunately, we don't have any of those because those are totally and completely sold out everywhere. So, face coverings for teachers. Teachers, we don't have non-teaching, well, I guess except me, but for teachers, you are required to wear a face covering when you're walking anywhere in the school building during school hours. If it's after hours, you can take it off, but we do also have maintenance people that are also walking through the building. We have other staff members. Some of them are in the high-risk categories. So I would recommend wearing it while you're walking through the school building at all times, unless you know you're not going to run into anybody. Teachers will wear face covering when they are closer than 6 feet to students. And that's as you walk into the classroom, as you're walking through the classroom, things like that. You do not need to wear a face covering while you're teaching. Many students watch lip movements to help distinguish words, so a face covering would impede instruction. Now, you can decide you're going to wear it anyway. That is your choice. But if you're having trouble with the kids understanding you, this could be one of the problems, and we need to get you a face shield or something like that. Many teachers can be exuberant while they teach, and they may become short of breath while teaching. I know that the masks, my mother makes my masks because she's bored, stiff, and isolated. And she makes them 3 layers, and the center layer is a medical grade layer. And it's difficult to talk a lot the way I talk while wearing them because I do get a little short of breath. So I understand this. But I would probably wear one while I'm teaching in a classroom anyway. If you choose not to wear a mask while you're teaching, you have to maintain that 6 feet, and I would recommend 10 feet. So as you're going in to set your classrooms up, make sure that the first kid is sitting 10 feet away from you standing at the whiteboard, and that you are making sure that you monitor where you stand. If the instruction brings the teacher closer to a student than 6 feet, both the teacher and the student should wear face coverings. You can choose to wear a face shield to offer some protection while teaching, but still allow students to see the mouth move when you speak. But with a face shield, you still have to remain 6 feet. So I need you to keep yourself safe, and I need you to keep the students safe, and I need the students to not go home and freak any parents out. We need to discuss the decisions that we're making with the class and with the parents so everyone understands. And we might get parent objections and change our minds. So face covering for students. Students are required to bring a clean face covering every day. I've got some disposables in the front office if something happens to one. But I don't have enough to continuously supply these kids with stuff. So I'm assuming that this is just going to happen, and we're going to make sure all of our parents understand that. Students are required to wear a face covering as they travel through the classroom or the building. Have to wear it. Recess, during the current rules say you don't have to wear it while you're at recess, but if you're not wearing it, you must maintain physical distance. I don't know how that's going to work, but we don't have to deal with recess right now, so it's okay. Students are encouraged to wear a face covering during quiet classwork. Once everybody is seated, you included, and they're starting to work, so they all have their little 6-foot bubble, then they can take it off. But as soon as someone gets up to walk around, they have to put it back on. If someone decides to go sharpen a pencil or use a tissue or something like that, that's moving the air around, circulating it a lot, and that's putting that student closer than 6 feet to the desk they're walking by. So this is going to be the nightmare part, and the part that we're going to have to work on with our students in the classroom. During all day instruction, as the middle school students are changing classroom groups, they have to wear face coverings while they're moving, and they have to maintain physical distance, and that will be really interesting. It was the high school in Georgia where the kids weren't required to use physical distancing, and they weren't required to wear face masks, that suddenly everybody got it from each other because they were all too close together in the hallway. So once we go back to all day, this will have to be addressed. At drop-off and pickup, if a family member is in a car, they don't have to put a mask on. It is your responsibility to wear a mask while you're outside for drop-off and pickup. It'll be me at drop-off. It'll be your responsibility to make sure that you stay 6 feet away from the car as you're having a conversation with any parents that you're going to. If they decide to get out of their car to come pick up their child and they're not wearing a face mask, they have to maintain major distance from everybody. But if they're wearing a face mask, they can come over and get their kid and walk their kid back to their car. Pre-K students the parents are all required to wear a face mask. They don't sign the kid out, you sign the kid out, but as they're coming to get the kid, they are required regardless. Face covering specifics. I know that if you're a medical professional, you talk about how if you touch your face mask, it's dirty, and kids are going to touch their face mask all day long, and so it's not going to work, it's not going to count. And they know that this disease is not transmitted by touch. It's transmitted through the air. So what the face mask is doing is keeping your germs from your air from spreading a lot, and it's keeping you from picking up a lot of germs as you inhale from the outside. The fact that kids are touching their face masks all day is not as big a deal as if you were in surgery. We do want to train the kids to touch the face masks around the edges, the corners near the ears, rather than in the center where the nose and the mouth are, so that any germs that they have picked up don't get right where they're breathing, because we don't want to, start a new trend or anything. So we also have to make sure that parents train their kids so that everybody can put on and take off their own face coverings independently, because we are not allowed to get close enough to the kid to put their face mask on. So they're going to have to be able to do that by themselves. So one of the parts of parent orientation has to be that the kids can take them on and off. And so I don't recommend the ones that tie in the back. I think most of them now are around the ears anyway, but please make that point so that all the parents are thinking about it. I'm on page 18 for isolation measures. We are going to monitor students who leave the school ill or who have parents call in and report them ill, to make sure that we're tracking what symptoms they have and to find out whether we need to exclude them for 14 days or not. So this is all about that kind of monitoring and making sure that we track that. We don't want a bunch of students coming to the front office for every little thing. Now, because we don't have recess, we expect a lot of this part to not exist. But we're going to make sure that you have Band-Aids so that the kid doesn't have to come all the way to the front office for one. Ice packs, I guess they're going to have to come to the office for an ice pack. I would actually much rather that there was a way we could contact the front office so that the ice pack could be brought to the classroom and handed off at the classroom door, so that the kid's not wandering around. If there are students who regularly take medicine, they will have to come to the front office. So that would be an exception, but it's probably not going to be during limited in-person instruction like we're in now. The next section is all about the isolation areas. We are transforming the office that's inside the staff room to be the isolation room, because it's got the ability to have both a phone, a computer, and the thing to open the front door. So if the front office personnel have to be in the sick room with the kid because you can't leave the kid alone, then we'll be able to monitor everything we need to be able to. If there is a time when there are 2 sick kids at the same time, or 2 sick people, because one could be a staff member, then the other isolation room will be room 207, which is the room closest to my office. We'll have to set up a cot in there either. So that small office will have 1 desk instead of 2. The phone that it's got, the front door thing, and a cot and a room barrier. So like so that it can be set up so that there is some separation for the sake of the front office person.